as king and establishes his kingdom with its center at the glorious rebuilt temple in Jerusalem, Israel's festival calendar will resume as predicted by the prophet Isaiah. They shall keep my laws, my statutes, and all my assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. So the nation of Israel will be celebrating feasts. Now, the Gentile nations also have a promise. In Zechariah 14:16, it shall come to pass that everyone left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So in the millennium, you see the millennium, now the Gentiles will also celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. So just kind of, in just summing it all up in terms of the festivals, and then if there's anybody has any questions. They're a shadow, a type of Christ, but I hope you see that, and, even some of the traditions that the Jewish people did, especially in New Testament times, they got a lot of the Old Testament scripture, and they had festivals. They did things that related to the scriptures, and Jesus comes and fulfills them. Yes.
You showed one picture there, the goat sacrifice. I noticed he was black. Was there any color?
That came from the hold on.
Yeah.
That came from the Temple Mount Institute. So I don't take any credit for making it black, but that was. I don't know that in the scripture it says that it has to be a certain color.
The heifers were red, so.
Yeah.
Jake, will they restore animal sacrifice then in the millennium?
Do you take the scriptures literally?
Yes.
Then they will. And, what's interesting? It says it'll be for atonement. Now, there's some different views on that. Some see it as a memorial, just like would see communion as a memorial. And I think that has that element to it. But I actually take it literally. It's going to be for atonement. There's going to be sinful people. We have Christ the King reigning on earth, but there's still sinful people. And so just if you're going to enter into the presence of the Lord, you're going to have to be ceremonially cleansed. And that's what I take it as. Yeah.
The camera's just about to run out of minutes.
Okay. Good to know. Did you have another question? Okay. That's how I take it. But again, some people take it as a memorial, just as a memorial. But I think I take it, if it says atonement, why would I think anything different but to be as an atonement? Yeah, in fact, and I talked about this before, the anti-missionaries that try to, when we were in ministry, reaching out to Jewish people, it would be anti-missionaries who come against us. And they're very prideful people, you might expect, if they, come against the Lord. But one of the guy says, this guy Tolia Singer, he says, I have an objection that nobody can respond to. And the question was, well, how can Jesus be the final atonement if there's going to be atonement in the millennial kingdom? Well, that's why I say I don't think Jesus is our atonement, because it never says he is in the New Testament. And I think we kind of use that word loosely. So that's why I have my little heresies, because you have to deal with that objection. So I never called them and said I have an answer for you, but I do have an answer. There will be. Jesus is our final sacrifice for our salvation, but yet when it comes to, in a ceremonial sense, for the cleansing, for fellowship, we'll go back to needing an animal sacrifice. A lot of Christians would say that's heretical, but that's taking the scriptures at their word. So, yes?
Is that in Revelation?
No, that's actually in Ezekiel. No, Revelation doesn't go a lot into it's more found about the millennial kingdom in the Old Testament than in the New Testament. What we find in the New Testament is how long it's going to be. And it's mentioned how many times, Matt?
6 times.
6
7
times.
verses, yeah.
6 times and 7 verses in Revelation. Any other questions?
Do you think the author was trying to make a point?
But you can't take it literally. That's for sure.
Any questions? Oh, I forgot one thing. This is a picture today down at the temple, at the Wailing Wall, where the temple was, of Jewish people on the Feast of Tabernacles today. If you can't